Welcome to Calvin Logic, where we take my thoughts and use my crazy logic to talk about anything and everything. And today, we are talking about my favourite villages in Minecraft. So let's jump in with number 10. So, ranking the lowest on my list, but higher than most others, is the Swamp Nitwit. So why the Nitwit, you may ask? Well, in my opinion, I think this is the best representation of the Nitwits in Minecraft. Also, I think the simplicity of him, but also the silliness of this Nitwit being from the swamp, so he has a leaf on his head, and what we can assume is leaf or long grass as his bottom half's tunic. Now, to me, the Nitwit is supposed to be, in Minecraft, a little bit silly, a little bit dopey. He can't do many trades or anything like that, and if he does, they're not great. And so the costume really emphasizes this to the max for the Swamp Nitwit especially. And I think Mojang did a good job with this one, but the other Nitwits, not so much. They don't quite give off the same silliness and dopey vibe as this one does. So what's next? So for me, the Tiger Toolsmith is awesome because he looks like a worker in a armory or a blacksmith shop or something like that, where you forge weapons and tools and work with metals. And his simpleness in the design really makes him look like, you know, that poorer but hard-working citizen that he probably is. This guy reminds me a lot of a hard-working old, medieval kind of weaponsmith, or in his case, toolsmith, compared to a lot of the other toolsmiths in the game. But his design is quite simple, but also it's got enough going for it that it makes him stand out, but also not be too overwhelming. Next on our list is the Savannah Armourer. Wow, that's a mouthful. So this guy really stands out to me because he looks more like a posh worker, a posh armourer slash blacksmith slash toolsmith. And like I was saying just before, the Tiger Toolsmith looks like he could work for this guy. He looks like this guy is the employee who might do the final touches on the armor and the weapons and stuff, but is more in the shop and selling it and runs the business, whereas the other guy is delegated to actually doing a lot of the hard yards. And that's why this guy has a bit more pop to his character and a bit of bling, as I like to call it, on his shoulders. There's silver bits, and also that funny headdress to mask his eyes from sparks and stuff. Yeah, he just looks like, to me, that upper class businessman who does the last final bit so that he can slap his name on, yeah, I made that chest plate or something. But I also really love the contrast between the red and the silver in this guy. And there's on my list another Savannah villager here, and the red just really stands out. In a couple it can be a bit overwhelming, but in this one it works really well with the silver and the brown. Next we have the Tiger Farmer. Now I really do like the Tiger Farmer and a lot of the Tiger villagers, because it's just this really cool kind of look to them that Mojang gave. But this guy really reminds me of an olden day shepherd who didn't have the best clothes. They weren't the worst for wear, but they weren't the best. They weren't high in colour or anything. And, it looks like he spends most of his time with the animals, not in town, being in civilization. And that really reminds me of those olden day shepherds who would just the same, be with their flocks of sheep and stuff like that, and not be super rich, but not be the poorest of the poor. And so I think Mojang did a brilliant job of doing that for this guy, and I especially love the straw hat he's got that just gives him that extra pop of personality. So at number 6 we have the Savannah Fisherman. Now why have you put a fisherman on this list, Calvin? Well, I'll tell you. I put a fisherman on this list because it's all about the look of him. This is how I'm ranking these guys, is just my favourite looks of villagers. And this guy is pretty simple, but pretty cool. He's got a nice poppy red jacket top with a little bit of added texture in there. Again, he's got a cool hat. This time not made out of hay, but probably made out of straw or something like that. And this guy, he reminds me of home, and I'll tell you why. Down here in Southland, we have a lot of farmers and a lot of fishermen, and quite often they'll wear these big woolen jackets to keep them warm in the winter or while they're out at sea, and oftentimes those are red. And so that's what this guy reminds me of. One of my own homebred Southland farmers, or fishermen in this case, who's just out doing his daily job, what he really loves. So at number 5, we've got the Snowy Cartographer. Now the awesome thing about this guy is he's blue, and blue is one of my favourite colours. Now what I love about this guy, and what puts him right smack bang in the middle of the list, is his cool eyepiece. That cool little looking glass monocle thing that he looks at his maps with. And I just love the way that the blue lets the eyepiece stand out. There are a lot of other cartographers in Minecraft, but to me, their design is always too colourful or bland or not just right, and their eyepiece kind of gets just sucked into the design. Whereas in this one, I really think that the blue and the white allow the eyepiece to really shine. And that is the uniqueness of this character, is that he's got the eyepiece. But also that hat. That hat is so cool. Pun intended. And I love how Mojang even gave it the little earpiece, like quite a lot of Russian or Alaskan style hats have, where they go over your head but also cover your ears. And it's just amazing attention to detail, considering these guys are out in the snowy biomes of Minecraft, just like Antarctica. So another awesome piece of detail done to this guy. So just missing out on the top 3 is the zombie weaponsmith. Now we haven't had a zombie on the list yet, but this guy is a villager turned into a zombie. And what I really like about this guy is he looks mean. He looks like he was designed to scare the pants off of you at night when you're running around on your first couple of days trying to start your new world, and he just pops out of nowhere. I think he has an extra scary factor to him because normal zombies have black eyes, but this guy has 2 advantages. 1, he has an eye patch, and 2, he has a red eye. Now I think that combined, and the simplicity of him, actually makes him look like he should be the leader of the zombies. If you were to build a zombie stronghold or base or something in Minecraft, I reckon that you should have all the other zombies, maybe even a couple other villagers who have been turned into zombies, but I really think that this guy, just with the red eye and the eye patch, you know, he's been through some tough stuff, but he looks like he could lead a pack of zombies to victory over the player. Alright, so getting the bronze medal of villagers is the jungle villager. Now, for those of you who don't know Minecraft, he's just called the Jungle Villager because he doesn't have a job. He's just a plain old person, and so this is their base form, and this looks amazing. I really enjoy looking at this guy because he has enough going on to keep you interested, but not enough, as I've said before about other villagers, not enough to overwhelm you. And I think Mojang did an awesome job on the yellow and the green, as well as using the brown to kind of mix it all in. And of course, these guys are deep in the jungle, and this guy reminds me a lot of Tarzan, or savages from different forms of media that you see. It looks, you know, like he's just gone and got an animal or a couple of animals and slapped an outfit together using the resources he's got in the jungle. To me, this is just the perfect base villager. He's, you know, all the others are just pretty bland and pretty boring, but this guy has enough going on and enough of a personality to get him this high on the list. So, well done, Mr. Jungle Villager. In second place, we have our second armourer. This guy's the Desert Armourer. He makes all the armour for the desert people. Similar to the Jungle Villager, this guy just pops. Mojang found another way to make this guy just pop. And he's very basic, but the little twitches of orange in there give him enough to stand out. If you entered the pretty plain and yellowy white looking desert villages, when you see him walking around with his little mask and the orange on him, you could instantly recognize him apart from the crowd of other desert villagers, even if they have professions. And again with that is his shoulder guards give him a very clear distinction from the rest of the desert villagers, and unlike some of the desert villagers, he doesn't scream at you. He doesn't pop out of the page so much that you're overwhelmed and taken aback by him. He's just nice and got enough there to make him look awesome, but also tolerable. Top spot is the Jungle Weaponsmith. Now, you might have noticed that number 4 was a weaponsmith as well. Well, I really do like the eye patch. And for this guy, the eye patch fits maybe even more so than the zombie. Now, this is because he's in a jungle. There are lots of dangerous things in the jungle, whether they be plants or animals, or even other villagers. And so, similar to the zombie, I think that this guy's probably been through quite a lot. But the eye patch gives him this depth to his character that you could really explore and deep dive into. Even in Minecraft, get a book, put it on a lectern, and start writing a story. Similar to the Jungle Villager, he just pops. And I know I've said that a lot about these villagers, but that's kind of one of the main things that put the villagers on this list was, do they stand out from the rest of the villages? There are heaps of villages there, and even heaps of zombie villages, and that's why only one of those got on here. But the contrast between the nice little bits of yellow he's got on, then his leather front, just gives him a nice groundedness, while also letting you know this is exactly who he is and this is exactly what he does. He is definitely very unique, even compared to a lot of his other weaponsmith buddies. And with that, that rounds out my favourite 10 villagers in Minecraft. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that I've given you something to think about. Now, I seem to be doing questions at the end of my video, so I won't stop now. What is your favorite Minecraft villager? Now, if you don't play Minecraft and you still want to answer the question, I'll leave a link to the Minecraft villager wiki down below. But until the next one, my friends, bye guys!